Hey guys, what is going on? I'm that guy Dan96. Welcome to the stream. We're over here in Charlotte, getting ready for a flight down to Columbia, South Carolina, as Blue Streak 5181 in the CRJ 700. So let's hop in the flight deck here. Let's get this stuff underway. Here we go. We are here in the CRJ 700. Again, we are Blue Streak 5158, and pretty much everything has been done. I've taken care of all the payload kind of stuff here. We've gotten all that. The only thing I need to do is figure out our V-speeds, so we can jump over to V-speeds and actually get all this stuff. So let's jump over here. Alright. V1 is going to be 130. We'll dump in 130 right there. Go up. VR is going to be 130. And V2 is going to be 140. Go all the way up to 140 with that. And our VFTO is going to be 191. So that's where we're going to put our flaps up and all that kind of good stuff there at 191. Going to be a very short flight. It's like 20 minutes down to Columbia. And let's see. I can put that away. I can select that. Put that away. V2 plus 15, our top speed's going to be 155. I do not want to exceed that below 2,000 feet, so that's going to be the goal there. And while we do that, let's go ahead and start the APU so we can go up. Make sure that's open. Let's actually go down to here, go to stat. APU door is open. Let's go ahead and start that APU. APU is going to be coming online here. We've got a takeoff trim of 7.9. I'm going to go ahead and set that up there. There we go. We got 7.9 set. APU is running. We're good, so let's go ahead. Deselect ground power. We can jump over here. We can go to doors. Let's go ahead and close the doors other than the main exit. That's fine. Ground services, we can kill off the ground power. We can also kill the wheel blocks. Why not? Get those out of there, get those chocks out. And there's just a few other things. Check that. That's all good there. So we can run through our checklist now. Holy Lord. 354 frame loss. Interesting. Alright. I'm checking that to make sure nothing else happens. I think we're going to be okay. For here on out. Looks like we just had a little thing there. But anyways, we can run the before start checklist. So logbook required documents are checked and on board. Crew oxygen masks is going to be checked with 1790 PSI. Parking brake is on. Fuel quantity, we've got, let's see, we got 8,400 required with 8,900 on board. Altimeters, 2976 set, checked. Barge briefing is complete, and CAS is checked. Before start checklist is complete, we're ready to push back now. Everything, like I said, is done and taken care of, so we can get on our way quickly and not spend a whole ton of time just chilling on the ground doing nothing. So let's go ahead and get this beacon light on. Actually, let's close the door first. The door is going to be closed. Beacon light on. Alright. Cool. Everything's looking good up there. Let's go ahead and call GSX over. And we are going to prepare for pushback and departure. And off of this gate here, we'll just go straight pushback. I don't need to worry about any taking us left or right or any of that stuff. So they're coming over to push us out. We've got all that stuff set. We're cruising up at 10,000 feet today. That's actually all we're going to. All that stuff. Cool. Alright, they're ready to push us back here. Let's go ahead and get back set up. Are locking the gear for us now. Let's make sure we are on number 1. Let me double check on vPilot that we are actually totally good to go, and we are. We're squawking mode, Charlie, which is good. Parking brakes are released. Alright, we've been told we can start at will. Let's go ahead and start number 2. So beacon lights on. Hydraulics are on. Let's go ahead and start number 2. And those can go on. Alright, here we go. Alright, we got the right engine spooling on up now, waiting for 20% N2. We go ahead and introduce fuel and get that engine going. And 20. Engine's coming up good. Let's go ahead. We can just stop here. I'm happy with that. Alright, right engine is good. Let's go ahead and get the left going. Flip that to start. GSX is being broken, so we are going to abort the pushback, remove all of them. That way they're out of our way. Again, waiting for 20% on the N2, then we'll go ahead and give it fuel. There it is. We'll say they're away now. We can go ahead, put nose wheel steering on. Got a few planes getting ready to get out of Charlotte this evening. All that stuff is good. We're good there. Let's go ahead. We can kill the APU. I don't need it anymore. That stuff is good. Good, 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 good. Let's go ahead and get the windshield and anti-ice on. Good. Let's go ahead and get that stab trim, mock trim, and yaw damper engaged. We are good there. Let's go ahead and give it flaps 5. Do a little flight control check here. Checking the rudders, all that stuff is good. We can run the after start checklist. Fuel check valve is checked. Anti-ice is off. Rudder is checked. Nose wheel steering is armed. Thrust reversers are armed. And the CAS is checked. The after start checklist is complete. Flaps are set 8. We're going over to 18 left for departure. We can just go ahead and make a little right turn here and head right on out to 18 left. We're going to run the taxi checklist. Flaps, 8 degrees required, indicating 8 degrees. Takeoff data is set. Trims green centered 7.9 set. Taxi checks are complete. And we're going to be right behind this guy here.
Captain, the cabin is secure. All passengers are aboard.
Right, we're good there. We can run the before takeoff checklist. Takeoff configuration is checked. We'll be waiting behind this guy for departure. Takeoff configuration is checked. Takeoff fuel quantity and balance. We have 8,300 required, 8,600 on board. That's checked. Brake temps are checked. Fuel cross flow is off. Flight controls checked. Takeoff briefing, runway 18 left is complete. Apparently they're going over to use 23, so that's fine. Ignition anti-ice is checked. Gas checked. Runway heading is checked. 183. And we'll verify that once we line up, and we'll be on our way out of here. Let's go ahead and get the lights on. Strobes. And we're ready to go. Alright, runway 18 left is verified. Heading 183 is checked. Let's go flying. And I'm gonna have traffic crossing in front of me. I already see it. So we're just gonna stop, let that traffic cross. Hey Nate, what's up, man? Nice to see you. I can already see I've got a CRJ taxiing in front of me. I'm just gonna let him go. Because had I actually given a takeoff thrust, then I would have literally flown right into it, and it would have been annoying. Alright. We're ready to go. Let's go fly. Toga is set. There's 80 knots. B1, rotate. B2. Positive rate. Gear up. Gonna do our best to maintain 155 knots. Go ahead, give me heading hold. Thousand feet. We're gonna go to speed mode. Looking good there. Coming up on 2,000 feet, we're going to go up to speed 200 knots. We start pitching down now. There's 2,000 feet. Speed's going up to 200 knots. We're going to go direct to Gilfin. Execute. Reselect it, Gilfin, execute nav. We can go on nav. We are again trying to pitch down now to get 200 knots to get those flaps up. There's 10 degrees, 200 knots, flaps are going to go up. Set the speed to 250 knots. Climb thrust. Go ahead and get those reversers off, and we can run the Eps Takeoff Checklist. Gear flaps are up, fuel cross flow is checked, or is auto. Sorry, bleeds APU are off. Thrust is set, thrust reversers are off. CAS is checked, climb checks are complete. We're looking really good now, on our way direct to Gilfin. And from there we're going to be icons to Nooks. And then from there it's literally going to be direct Columbia VOR. This flight is roughly 77 nautical miles long. Up. And there's frame drops. Frame drops everywhere. Yep, sorry for the few frame drops. We are getting, the weather is actually really bad here. We're getting sustained winds of about 26 knots here in Cleveland, gusting into the 40s. So we are having, there may be a little second or two where we may have just a little bit of an issue with the stream quality. I do apologize for that. But I figured we needed to stream, and I was in the mood to do it tonight. So I could finally do it for you guys here. Coming up on 8,000 feet. Again, we're only going up to 10,000. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to engage the autopilot now. And that's going to take us up to 10,000. Upon hitting 10,000 feet, we're going to accelerate to 290 knots. And I already see my top of descent on the screen there, believe it or not. There it is. It is right there. So here we are, 10,000 feet, alt cap. I'm going to start coming off this throttle a little bit here. The only reason I'm going to do that is because I am flying on American Virtual. And if I'm below 10,000 feet and I bust at 250 knots, I'm going to have an issue with my PIRAP. So I'm coming off of it now. I actually may have to maintain about 250 knots most of this flight here, because I have a feeling if I go above that 250 and I'm just a tad below 10,000, it's going to straight up reject the flight report. So I'm going to see how it goes. I'm actually going to increase my speed to 290, and we're just going to speed up to 290 knots. Put it back into climb mode here. Get us all the way going up to 290, because we're going to be slowing down pretty soon again. So there's my top of descent again. That's about, about 30 nautical miles away. Getting up to 290 knots for a hot minute, and then we're going to be slowing back to 250 knots again to descend, but try to get you guys there. Alright, coming up on 290 now. The fasten seatbelt sign is going to stay on for this entire flight, just due to how low we are, and we're flying in clouds, so the chances of us getting some of that just cloud turbulence is pretty high, so we're going to leave the fastest equal sign on the entire flight. And maintain about 290 knots at 10,000 feet. On our way to Columbia. I do have some scenery for Columbia. It's off of Avsim. It was actually the second one down if you list it by date. The first one didn't look too bad, but the second one looked pretty nice. I figured I'd give it a try, so we are trying it out. And this evening's route for me is we're flying down to Columbia. And then after the stream and after my flight to Columbia, we're going back to Charlotte, going up to Lynchburg, and then back to Charlotte. All in 723 Papa Sierra. Ugh. Yep, keep getting a little bit of those frame drops. Again, I don't think it's me as much as it is the weather outside. It is pretty crummy outside right now, and just because of that, I think that's why we're having frame issues. But we're not dropping too many. I mean, it's here or there. We're getting a little bit of a drop, but I don't think it's enough, especially now at cruise. It shouldn't be too much, and it shouldn't be enough to totally kill off the stream. And we are almost to our top of descent. And right now, the way it's looking, I'm actually going to pull this up. Might be a little bit easier for y'all to read. Right now, it's looking like our top of descent is just after icons. And this is going to keep increasing. I have it set up to cross Columbia at 2,000 feet. Columbia is actually a little bit past our ILS. It's actually just a tad south of the ILS course. But if I set that in for 2,000, I can get a pretty decent idea of how much I'm going to have to descend to meet the ILS at the correct point. So that's why I went ahead and did all that. And as you can see, right now it's looking like we're probably going to be doing about 1,000 feet per minute on our way down to Columbia VOR to cross that at 2,000 feet. Oy, oy, oy. So right now it's looking like it's probably going to be maybe a little more than 1,000 feet-ish that I'm going to use. I'm going to start a slight descent once we do get a little bit closer to the actual top of descent, and then we'll figure out our descent from there. Alright, so we're going to start slowing down now, right to about 250 knots for our descent. I'm actually going to set this to 240. And I'm just going to start pulling some speed off of it right now, and we're going to start a descent. As soon as we hit 240 knots, I'm going to start that descent down. Again, I do apologize if this is a little choppy. Right now, we have pretty awful weather in Cleveland. And I think that's what's contributing to this being kind of being my internet having difficulty keeping a solid stream going. It's right now, winds are pretty awful. They're gusting up to like 40 knots. And yeah, it's pretty rough outside right now. So I think that's why I'm having that issue with this right now. I appreciate everyone that's sticking around for it. But yeah, I think we're having a little bit of an issue with it. And hopefully it is okay once we get down to fly the approach. And I don't know. We'll see. I'm monitoring it as much as I am monitoring the aircraft. I am monitoring the stream. And it's, yeah, I mean, it's dropping frames pretty bad, but oh well. Alright, so I'm going to start a slight descent down to 2,000 feet. So to do that, we're going to set this down to 2,000. select vertical speed, and I'm going to select, I'm going to do 1,000 feet per minute to start out with. I think that's a good starting point. Hey Peyton, what's up, man? Nice to see you. Flying the CRJ today, and trying to salvage what I can of this stream here. It's the weather's pretty crummy right now. Glad I'm not at work. Planes are diverting all over the place. It's snowing. We're supposed to get like 6 inches of snow. It's rough. Winds are like, I think it was, last I heard was like, it was like 2.6 gusting 4.3. So it's been rough. Just like how I'm losing frames here, it's been rough. So, like I said, I'm sorry that it's, you know, not perfect and all that kind of stuff. But if I'm gonna have frame issues, I'd rather it be at cruise and have it kind of be okay. At least, you know, have it be okay now, and then hopefully by the time I get down, it shouldn't be too bad. Yeah, it's Baltimore's. This is what's moving into there tomorrow. So tomorrow evening might be an interesting evening for me. It's at work. If I actually leave on time, might be a miracle, because if this is going to continue up the coast as a nor'easter, if flights are going to... I mean, if flights cancel, that'll be... Oh my god, that'll help me so much. But if they don't cancel and they get delayed 5 or 6 hours, well then, if the plane is delayed until 3 o'clock in the morning, I gotta sit around at work until 3 a.m. until the plane gets there, and I really don't want to do that. Alright, we'll check the Columbia altimeter. It is 2979, so I can go ahead and bump that up by 3. I'm going to switch this over to heading mode now. We're going to fly a heading of about 180. Happy with that. Let's go ahead and switch this over to VOR 1. I'm going to do the same for my FO's side. Switch this over to VOR 2. The ILS for runway. The ILS for runway 29. I'll tell you guys right now, the current weather is winds are 260 at 11, gusting 21, 10 statute miles, 10,000, temperature 18, dew point 14, altimeter 2979. So we are expecting the ILS runway 29. ILS is 108.3. 08.3. And I will get a course on that in a hot second. The course is 292, so I can go ahead and set that in. Let's see, come on. 292. We got that set in, and we can actually zoom in a tad. Got a nice descent going here, about 2,000 feet per minute. I'm happy with that. Again, if we get us down to 2,000 feet, that'll be really nice for us to capture the ILS and fly that into runway 29 in Columbia. So this weather system is really looking pretty crummy, I'd have to say. I'm surprised at how awful it is, and just how it's bad. It is really bad outside. I'm glad I don't have to go to work until I don't have to be at work until 2:30 tomorrow. If I had to leave when I used to work mornings, if I had to leave the house at, oh my god, 3:45, 4 o'clock in the morning and try and drive on, that would be really, really, really crappy. So, glad I'm not doing that. Glad I can have a little more time to not only sleep in, but just, I don't have to be on the road at 4 o'clock in the morning. And the thing that really sucks about being on the road at 4 o'clock in the morning isn't that you're tired or whatnot, it's that nobody else is really driving at 4 o'clock in the morning, so you are the only one on the road, which means the roads are not plowed. There is no sort of treatment to the road at all. It's just bad. The road is just extremely bad. And that's the thing that really sucks about it. And it's awful trying to drive. You got to leave early because you know it's going to take longer to get to work, and it's awful. It really is. So Columbia is going to be just off our 2, 3 o'clock here. You can actually see, I think it's right over there. Staying below 240 knots is exactly what I'm trying to do here. Just as long as I'm below 240, I'm happy with it. And as we get a little bit closer, we'll make a little turn to the right, and then make that right turn into the ILS. Unfortunately, nobody is on VATSIM. I'm actually flying on VATSIM, believe it or not, for one of the first times in a while, but unfortunately, nobody's online. Usually Atlanta Center or Jacksonville, somebody's usually online, but unfortunately right now we got nobody. I'm gonna put my descent in a little bit more here. Let's go ahead, do 1,300 feet per minute. Bring that in a little bit closer for me so I can be very much assured I'm hitting 2,000 feet right around here. Alright, let's go ahead and bring a little bit of a turn in now. Turn to a heading of 195. No pain, I didn't. What's going on with Atlanta? That's very interesting. No, I did not hear what's going on with Atlanta. They better be online. I'm flying in out of Charlotte all the time. It would not be good if Atlanta was not online for a while. I was surprised, though, that Atlanta wasn't online, but like you said, something happened, so that would make sense. Here we go, 3,200 on our way down to 2,000. I'm going to zoom in just a tad more. There's 1,000 to go. Alright, I can see the ILS is, we're just going to be coming up here on the ILS pretty soon. There's Alt's cap. I'm going to slow back to 200 knots. Alright, we're going to start that turn now to capture that ILS. Flaps 8, sorry. Not 7-3, damn. Flaps are going 8. Here we come on 200 knots. Well, dang. Pulled the whole staff out of Atlanta. Yeah, that'd not be good at all. Very interesting. Alright, flaps are 8. You can see Columbia is going to be right there. You can go ahead and kill the autopilot. Autopilot is off. Flaps 20. Gear down. Alright, flaps 30. Forgot to check what our VREF is going to be here. Our VREF is going to be 136. Let's go ahead and set 136 in. Flap 45. And landing checklist. Thrust reverse is armed. Landing gear down. Flaps 45. Landing checks are complete. And we're on final, so I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic so you guys don't hear my awful, squeaky, sad yoke, and then I'll be right back as soon as we touch down in Columbia.
1,000. 500. 400. 300. 200. 100. Light slow. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
60 knots. Reversers are in. Make the right turn here on to... Oh, what is this? I don't even know. Assuming Alpha 4. Alright. We're going to the gate. Apparently there's no jetways here. There should be. I don't know where they are. It probably has something to do with the scenery complexity. I only run my stuff at about medium here in Prepared, because you really don't need more. But apparently it wants you to run insane settings to get jetways, but it's okay, it's whatever. We're gonna make a right turn here. Get those off. Alright, making the right turn here. APU's door is open, APU is starting. And we're supposed to be going over to gate... what gate are we going to? Supposed to be going to gate 4, which is on the edge here. Not quite sure. Okay, so it looks like we can come in here. And then gate 4 is going to be over there. I don't know why there's no jetways. There should be, but... I think it was... I remember reading something about the scenery complexity in this, that it had to be at, like, a super high level, and I hate it when developers do that. I don't know why you just can't just put in the jetways at like a medium, but whatever. What do I know? So, parking spot 4, I guess we could just say it's right there. That works for me. It really doesn't matter all that much. Our parking line. Get all that stuff off. The APU is started, which is good. You can also pop up top really quick and kill off those. We don't need those. And we're going to have to do a little bit of self-parking here, so let's jump outside. And let's see how we can do parking. Come on. And there's the line. Set the parking brakes. That stuff is good. Beacon light can come off. Fasten seatbelt sign is off. Transponders on standby. Nose wheel steering is off. Got the wheel blocks in. Let's go ahead, open the doors. And there you have it. Welcome to Columbia. Let's get that mouse off my screen here. Whoop. Cool. Alright, yeah, Peyton, I'm actually going back up to Charlotte, and then I'm going to Lynchburg and back to Charlotte. A bunch of little, like, 20-minute hops in the CRJ today. But anyways, that's going to do it, guys, for Blue Streak 5158. Service over to Columbia from Charlotte. I appreciate everyone that came along. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I will see you guys in the next stream. Take care.